Hey everybody, today is June 26, 2026, and we're going to talk about where I see the stock market headed for the month of July. Before we begin, please read the disclaimer. You can pause this video as you read it. Okay, so where we left off last time was in late May over here. And I basically said that I do think that there's a good probability that we might come down to retest this consolidation area around 7,300. And the reason was that I felt like this whole move up was very quick, and things were starting to, obviously it was led by the AI boom, right? Things were starting to look a bit overbought, right? See the RSI going above 70, and you zoom out. And I also talked about how the market over time, this is the weekly chart, tends to retest these moving averages, right? The silver line is a 50-week, gold line is a 100-week, and the blue line is a 200-week moving average, right? It tends to come down and retest it like a rubber band, right? When it stretches too high. And what I said was, I thought that we would probably have spend the summer, June, July, August, maybe consolidating. And I felt like the first level of support would be, so I think that when I had my last update, it was around here. I said that there was a good chance we might come down and retest 7,300 around this area. And not only did we do that, we actually kind of overshot. And ultimately, I do think that this is healthy for the market. We did see some AI names run in the beginning of this month, but they're starting to pull back a little bit, right? The memory stocks, the semi stocks have been doing very well. Some of the AI data centers stocks have been doing well. But overall, the market is trying to find its footing. So it's been kind of chopping sideways this month. But let's look at the week, because today is Friday. We had a weekly close. So yeah, we came down here, had a red week. And here's the monthly chart. So there's still a couple days left of this month, next week. But it looks like we're probably going to close this month red, right? Which to me, again, is a healthy thing, because we've spent the last 2 months basically straight up, right? We had the Iran war, which led to this pullback in Q1, but then we started to see more progress towards an end to the war, right? And that's kind of where we are now. The president did announce that the Iran war has sort of come to an end. There's an agreement, but it's not 100% finalized. But the Strait of Hormuz is technically open, so things are looking good, right? Oil has come down, and now I think that the market is consolidating for the next potential move higher. So the question is, where do I think the market's going to go for the month of July? So I think that you see there's a gap here. I do think that the market will likely continue to consolidate here. And as long as it holds the level around 7,300, which again is this support level, we're sort of continuing this consolidation sideways, right? I do think that we build a level of support and push up higher to new all-time highs. And that probably will be led by some of the AI names, right? Now, if you look at some of the AI names, like, Micron has been doing very well. They had great earnings recently. But yeah, if you look at this chart, it's basically straight up, right? I mean, it literally is. If you look at the RSI, I mean, this thing is just, it's just, by every stretch of the technical measure, it's overbought, right? And it probably will come down based on this chart, but the fundamentals are fantastic, right? The fundamental, like, they just keep beating at earnings, right? Revenue, it just keeps going up. And so the projection is leading the expected projection guidance is leading the price higher. So it is possible it's going to go up a lot more, right? So there's that. And then you have SanDisk, right? Which again has been doing fantastic, because these two names, right? Like especially Micron and SanDisk, right? These are the AI bottlenecks, right? The memory, semis. I mean, everything needs data centers. And in the future, the robotics, which I think is going to be the next major trend of AI robotics, that's going to require a lot of memory. And so these stocks are just been going straight up basically, right? Which makes sense from a fundamental standpoint. But when you look at the technical, I mean, just look at this, right? It's just straight up. And so from a technical standpoint, it's just like, do you want to buy in here, right? Like, is this going to come down? Like, is this, when you buy in, is it just going to crash all of a sudden and correct? Because fundamentals could be good, but there is such a thing as being overbought, right? And so that's sort of the challenge, because the fundamentals are still strong, but the technicals are like, wow, this is overbought. So that's sort of the challenge of this market. But this inevitably will affect, how the S&P and the NASDAQ, which are the two largest indices, right? The most watched indices perform. And so the question is, will those two names consolidate, or will they go up higher, right? So I do think that, again, this eventually will consolidate. It will finish somewhere down the line. I don't know if it's going to be July or maybe the end of summer, but I do think consolidation is healthy. I mean, just look at the magnitude of this move, right? So, it's good to have some consolidation. It tends to level off over time when you have a big move, right? Every time there's a big recovery, zoom out a little bit, right? It's good to kind of like level off, correct, So that's sort of like what we're seeing here. It's probably like a level off consolidation before the next move higher. Another thing to look at, a very important thing to look at, is the Fed, right? We have the new Fed chairman, Kevin Warsh, and the first thing they did was to keep rates flat, right? And that's sort of expected, but at the same time, you look at inflation rate, it is rising, right? It's been rising for the last 3 months, right? And so the next report is going to be in July 14th. And so this is, it's getting a little worrying because, you know, they probably should raise rates, right? Like they probably should, in theory, to keep the inflation rate down. But who knows, right? Like Kevin Warsh, there's a lot of pressure from Trump, who, you know, recommended him in the first place to cut interest rates, right? But they're sort of like stuck in between a rock and a hard place, right? Because it's like, okay, if they don't raise rates, this is gonna rise, right? But it's also gonna put more pressure on the housing, it's gonna make borrowing more expensive for the average person, right? Mortgage payments, credit cards, and the national debt, right? Interest rate. We're already paying over $1 trillion a year on that, so we can't really afford to raise rates anymore. But I mean, what can you do, right? So it's a tough place to be. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, if the war is ending, maybe a large part of the inflation was due to, you know, oil spiking and, you know, all that stuff, and the AI boom, right? So yeah, a lot of conflicting signals, I think. That makes the market challenging to navigate, right? But I think for now, what I'm looking for, just to summarize, is for the month of July, I would like to see us defend at least, go back to SPX, defend at least 7,300, right? If we lose this level, it'll probably come down to the next 100-day moving averages gold line here, which is also support over here, right? Which is, yeah, so this resistance level will be support. But if we're able to hold this level, and it does look like we are making higher lows, so we'll hold this level, reclaim the 50-week, which is silver line, maybe we come back, fill this gap over here, come back up, maybe consolidate for a little bit, build support from the bulls, and then push up higher. So I think that that's probably what we're going to do for the remainder of summer. It might actually go into August. And honestly, the more we consolidate and move sideways before pushing up higher, we just absorb the selling pressure, right? That's going to be more bullish, I think, because, you know, when things go straight up, like I said, it's like a rubber band. The faster it goes up, the more, with the highest magnitude, the more likely it is to push back down, right? I mean, look at every time we've had a correction. Oh, wait, there's COVID, then we had the Great Inflation, 2022. Then we had the DeepSeek scare last year and the tariffs, and most recently we had the Iran war. So, you know, when we move up too quickly, it tends to snap back. So it's good to consolidate for a while. So anyways, that's what I'm looking for: consolidation, and then hopefully building momentum and higher lows, and that'll give us, you know, a base to push up higher to new all-time highs. And of course, we have to look at what the Fed does. You know, are they going to keep rates flat again, or maybe cut rates, or will they have to be forced? Will their hand be forced to push to raise rates higher to combat inflation, right? So that's gonna be a tough decision for Warsh. And also the AI stocks, right? Are the AI stocks starting to level off? Are they gonna pull back a little? Is there gonna be a correction, or will the fundamentals hold, and will the AI stocks continue higher? So of course we're gonna have to wait, and I'll definitely update you as the price action develops going forward. Again, thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, informative, please leave a comment below, like this video, and subscribe for updates. Thank you again, and have a great day.